turns out that we ain't scared no more. Seen so many things, so none's new to me. Believed so many dreams.
First time ever, with stars like Tommy Dreamer, New Jack, Eliminator Cronus, Balls Mahoney, The Sandman, and the list goes on and on and on, as well as New England favorites like Jose Perez, The Vertebreaker, Live Wire Dave Padula, Kyle Storm, and the list goes on and on and on and on. We've hosted many different venues. We've had many different things happen, from Primal Beginnings all the way up to No Remorse in Billerica, the last show, what some people call the cursed show, and you're going to find out why. You're going to find out what happened at Primal Beginnings and how we took control of the entire New England wrestling scene, how myself went out to different shows and recruited the best of the best to be able to give you Primal Conflict Wrestling. So stay tuned, fans. It's coming. Primal Conflict Television in a way that you've never seen it before. And for fans who've never heard of us before, get ready, because it's on its way.
It wasn't supposed to happen. I was cleaning out a closet and ran across the tape, and I laughed at a match. And I went to send a buddy a match, which I didn't even know how to upload a video 3 months ago. And I learned how to convert a tape, upload a video, start a YouTube page, and it turned into, now I'm doing a documentary. I got my own page. It's got all this interest. This was all like overnight, just kind of snowballed, and I'm just running with it, you know?
Do it, bro. I mean, you come so far so fast. Like, I remember when you first started, you were like, I remember you online asking questions, how do I do this? And then all of a sudden, bam, you got your YouTube page up and running. You know, got subscribers. You're doing it, man. So might as well run with it and see where it goes, you know, see where it leads.
Right, making them videos. I mean, I've made 3 videos, and they came out pretty good for just learning, not knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah, those hype videos were great, bro. Those hype videos were awesome. I showed my kid's mother, and she was laughing how you put on like the little gifs or the little images, like reactions to what was going on, like the eyes and the girl going. I thought that shit was funny, bro. She loved it. She loved it. My daughter's super excited to see this shit. My daughter, she gets really I guess nostalgic, like she because you know she was born after I quit the business, you know, so she's like every once in a while she wants to know like a lot of details about like her family or back home, or she want to know about my wrestling career. Like when my videos first started showing up online, dude, she got so excited. She watches them all. She thinks it's awesome, dude. She loves the shit. So she's super excited about this. She can't wait for it.
Cool. I've got a lot of that. Few people like thanking me, like, my kids never seen my matches. Thank you so much. You know, they begged me. Like, I'm like, wow, that makes me feel good. You know, like that's why I'm putting the stuff out there. Not only that, it's brought a lot of people together, like me and you. When was the last time me and you talked?
I know. I mean, it's been forever, other than a few chats here and there online, bro. But it's cool, man. It brings us back together, dude. I love it. I love it.
Right. Me and Joe Bruin, Matt of the Damned did this with me, and he was going to talk about Gino, walking out on Gino with that match. And he said he wanted to call Gino before. And I guess they didn't have real big problems, but kind of totally squashed whatever that was. It was stupid misunderstanding from 20 years ago. I'm like,
it was back in PWF, right? When they were doing the PWF Northeast shit, I think.
Yeah, and they were doing Primal, and they come in and something about talking shit in PWF, but I guess all that got squashed because he called another night or whatever.
Here's the thing with that, man. Like I look back at a lot of the guys like back there, like a lot of the core guys that were. I mean, if you go all the way back to NEWA, I wasn't part of NEWA at the beginning. You know, like my first interactions as far as professionally with NEWA were Primal at the beginning. You know. And then when George took the book there, I did some work with them then. But I knew all the guys because, you know, my mom was working for them, whatever. But those core guys, you got, you know, me, Kyle Storm, Matt Storm, Donnie, Gino. Bro, we all came up together and started out together. Like, we all had beef at one point in time. Like, I mean, everybody had beef with everybody at one point in time. But we're like a family, dude. You know what I mean? Like we
Right.
came up together. So obviously we're gonna have some infighting, some bullshit. But in the end, man, like all those dudes, and I use the word friend very loosely. Like especially out here, I've been out here 20 years. I have very few friends. I have a lot of people I know, but very few friends. You know, all those dudes, those are my friends, man. Through good times, through bad times, they're my friends, dude. We all came up together. All the stupid beef. We were all young. We all had egos. We were all shit. You know what I mean? But in the end, bro, we're all friends. We're all family. You know what I mean? Like, I love every one of those dudes. I love every one of them. They're all my family, man.
Me and Ed showed up with boxes of light tubes at the door, and the owner of the building come and ripped them out of our hands and said, "No glass in the building, no glass."
Yeah.
I guess Jack heard that and got pissed off, and that's why
we ended up with the wine bottles. Yeah. Yeah, now I remember that. Yeah, that was wow. Because I remember he came out and he had 2 boxes, and he just chucked them into the ring. And the next thing I know, glass everywhere. And he's just standing there with 2 bottles, breaking them, laughing, smiling at me, and I'm going, "Oh yeah, here we go. This is gonna be fun. Nice." So, yeah, I liked working with Jose. Jose is my kind of worker. He lays it in. I like that shit. Always appreciated Jose. Jack, I knew going into this that there was nothing that was going to be normal. There was nothing that was going to be under, over, borderline legal. So yeah, there's that.
Cool guy, man. Like I said, for me, memory for him was just him wanting to just have fun. He just wanted to have fun and just laugh. That's all he ever did was just laugh. He was always straightforward, always willing to give it, to help out and give it a opinion. I mean, hell, I remember Cronus taking the boards off the ring, which was great. He was just like, I got nothing to do. I'll give you a hand. Let me take these boards off. So it was stuff like that was cool to see about him.
Like I saw a lot of the stuff that you've been putting up. You've been putting up a lot of my matches, which I appreciate. And I'm seeing some of the comments on it. And my thought, to be honest with you, was like Primal Conflict was so dead for so long that who would ask about this stuff,
right?
And it's amazing to see the response, considering that we thought at the time that we were the first to be that type of wrestling, in the shadows of VCW. It was very interesting, especially how everything started out at first, just so small and so quiet.
Yeah, and most of that I'm holding back because once I started letting it out and I decided to do this project, I said, well, I'm going to hold all this stuff back. That's why a lot of your stuff hasn't come out, because I'm like, I'm holding this stuff back for this project because I don't want to let it all out. Then I have nothing to let out with the project, But once I seen the interest, I couldn't believe it. So I said, you know what I'll do? I'll put out the TV, like a retro TV show. Each week I'll put out like a little more in order. And when I made that video.
And again, this is my first time really getting to experience the action up close and personal. And I'm, 6 feet away from these guys, and I'm hearing these chops getting laid in, and I'm feeling every bump that they're taking when they hit the mat. And it was just this, I'll never forget this feeling that I got of being there in the crowd and being up that close and just that raw, visceral, feeling of the action. I mean, I can only describe it as primal to this day. When I think about that feeling you get when you're there and you feel like you're part of the action. To me, that was primal. I didn't know it at the time, but that's what I've come to think of it as. So they get to getting towards the end of the match, and they're brawling on the outside, and Verdi gets laid out. He's out on the ground. Jose gets up on the apron, and he's going to do a leg drop onto Verdi onto the floor. Now, keep in mind, this is one of those old VFW buildings, so it's got the hardwood floor, like the, basketball gymnasium style floor, right? So when Jose comes down and hits the leg drop, he inadvertently bounces Verdi's head like a basketball right off the wood, pops his eyebrow open, and Verdi got knocked the fuck out. I mean, you hear the expression people talk about, oh, dude was sucking wind. my boy was snoring in the middle of the ring, you know, and God bless him, man. He was on autopilot or whatever he did, but they finished that match, you know, and it was just, I'd never seen anything like that before. And I was, if I wasn't a fan of indie wrestling before that night, I would have had no choice but to become one after seeing that. So again, I don't know. They didn't, he didn't tell me what the finish was going to be. He didn't tell me any of the spots they were going to do, any of that kind of stuff. It was just, I was going to go watch my boy wrestle a match. And then it dawns on me, after the high kind of wore off of this great match that I just saw, my boy just got hurt. So I gotta, I want to make sure he's all right. So I go and I track Verdi down and go backstage. I find him. I says, bro, that was incredible. I've never seen nothing like that. I says, are you okay? He looks at me. He looks me dead in the face. Lights on. Nobody's home. He looks at me. He says, brother, I'm so glad you could make it tonight. I don't even know when did you get here? Did you see my match? I says, bro, I've been sitting with you for the past 3 hours cracking. You don't remember me getting here? You don't remember us? I said, hey, you should go get yourself checked out, right? And of course he didn't. Him and the boys went off to Denny's or wherever it was after the show. So, but yeah, so I just, I remember just driving home, and those were the things that stuck out to me, was that the attitude that the Primal guys had was, on the one hand, they were so cool to a fan that, they didn't have to be, and they were. But at the same time, it was just that, we don't give a shit attitude. We just don't, we do what we want when we want. And that, to me, that was just the coolest thing. And then to watch, a couple of Primal guys go at it in the ring, and just that intensity of that main event match that they had, just to this day, that match sticks with me. It's one of my favorite wrestling moments, just because, I'll always think back to just that, like I said, just that raw primal feeling of them, just two gladiators going at it. So to me, that's what Primal was. And still is. And, to ever since that day, I said, if any other action is going to be anything close to what I just saw, I can't miss a show. And I think other than their very first show, and one of my biggest regrets is I didn't get to go to their last show. But other than that, I was there front row almost every single time. Club Stars, Wonderland Dog Track, Bill Ricca, that time, the outdoor show when it started raining during the main event. I was there for a lot of great Primal moments and memories. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. PCFing
here, and bringing in different names like Cronus and King Kong Bundy and other people to help out, get the promotion's name out there, were great things that at the time not many people were doing, and it was definitely different, and it filled that void that ECW left. Bringing in also guys like Balls Mahoney. I mean, the names and the list goes on and on. Primal Conflict to me was that Renegade promotion. Was that promotion that it had a good mix of many different people, and they all had that same passion to get everything off the ground, to get the company off the ground and make it stand out. Guy that I forgot, Anthony Rufo and Gino Martino, all those guys, Anthony was somebody that was, really important in my beginning, because Anthony was one of those first guys that offered training for me when I was still a kid. And then later on down the line, when I started getting my feet wet and I started getting bookings elsewhere, and he started running UCW, he always took care of me. And, Anthony's somebody that I always loved and appreciated. And, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. But, yeah, all those guys definitely had big hand in getting Primal Conflict to the point that they were at the time, which was, like I said, making a lot of noise in the New England area, and who knows elsewhere.
I really like Chip because
here we go. Oh, sweet.
Woo! VCW.
The genesis of Studley Steve Stallion, who was the driving force behind Primal Conflict Wrestling. So that brings us back to maybe almost a decade before Primal Conflict, 1992, Cumberland, Rhode Island, somebody's yard near a pond, a rickety boxing ring, didn't have a spring in it like the conventional wrestling ring or a flexi beam or anything like that. and barely kept together. It was a death trap. And a bunch of wannabes show up to become wrestlers. And amongst us, me being one, was this guy who, of all of them, was probably the only one who was built like similar to what you see on TV, except that instead of being 6'5", he was like 5'7", and that being Studley Steve Stallion, or at the time
was horrible. It was horrible, and I only have myself to blame, and I apologize. It was me and another dude I don't know versus Elements of Suicide, and it was a Singapore cane match, and I was garbage. I didn't even know how to swing the cane. But I remember we were booked like 21st match, and my partner AWOL was like 23rd match, and so that was the thing. We weren't even in a tag team that night, and it was off right there. I was with the guy I was with. I had nothing in common with or anything. It just didn't make sense. But like I said, it was just basically that night I think was just throw everything out there. And yeah, I didn't leave a good first impression. I was the drizzling shits that night, and I totally admit it. But the thing that's funny is, I remember Greg Drago saying, you know, he sucks with those kendo stick swings, but look, at least he's being consistent about it. Like everything. It was
Fuck you what? Fucking that and bag on fire.
Do you remember the show that they were supposed to bring in CM Punk, NEWA?
No.
Here's a good story for you. I actually have a poster of the show never happened. You remember how Quentin Michaels used to make up all the shit in his work?
Yeah, I
all
heard
the flyers and everything. So they were planning a big like Quincy Omri show, and it was supposed to be Kamala and CM Punk. And so I was with Quentin the night of when Ring of Honor did the show in Boston. It was Punk and Raven in that House of Clockwork cage match that they did. So after the show, Quentin goes up to him and introduces himself. He's like, yeah, you're booked for us in September, whatever. Punk flips out. He's like, no, fuck you and fuck brother-in-law. I told you guys I hadn't committed. You owe me money for false advertising me. He was going off. It was crazy. And Quentin's like, he's a psychopath. I'm going to kill George. This was years ago. Well, the show never happened, though. I don't remember why, but Quentin ended up printing up like a poster, like a rough draft of it. And then afterwards, he's like, hey, you want to keep it? Because that was my only interaction with Punk ever. And put it like, I wouldn't say like a bad taste in my mouth. It was just a weird taste because, like, you know, Kevin was trying to explain to him that he had nothing to do with it. And Punk was just following ape shit that night. Like, he was not trying to hear it. I remember the whole time that they were arguing, he had just got out of the shower and his head would like open up and he would take like a towel and wipe the blood off from the cage match. And then he would start screaming again at Quentin and it would open up and he would stop talking and fix his head again. And that's why he's like, stay right here. I think he went to go put a Band-Aid on or something, come back and yell at him some more. And Punk went fucking ape shit that night.
No shit.
Yeah, and it put me in a rough spot too because I never had how do I explain this? When Ring of Honor first started, I knew a lot of the guys there, like the SATs and stuff that I was always friendly with. So they were trying to get me into like ref, like a dark match or something, to get me looked at. And like I remember that night as they were fucking arguing, I was like, oh, this is gonna not look good for me. And then like I want to say like a month later, that's when that whole Feinstein thing happened when they caught him going to the house with an underage boy and shit, and he sold the company. And then like right after that happened, I was like, well, I don't really care about working Ring of Honor no more. Because I originally, like when I first was trying to get into Ring of Honor, if you remember like the undercard, it was like the Outcast Killers and SATs, Cheech and Clark. I was friends with all those guys. Yeah. That's why I was trying to get in there because, everyone show. And then Punk, here he is screaming at this guy I'm with. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be good for me.
What was the way he forgets about them? I'm like, yeah, Jay Lethal was part of them. They're like, no, he wasn't. I'm like, yeah,
yes, he was. He was Hydro.
Yeah, Hydro, and he was like thin as a rail. He was like
right. No, he was Hydro
pounds or something.
Because that was the thing, like that night, because Quentin was like, well, if fucking Punk wants too much money, we've already promised Ring of Honor guys, who can we get? And like I remember I was talking to Deranged and shit, and he was like, Just pay us like 40, 50 bucks. We'll come up like 5 or 6 of us. And I remember I went up to Quentin and told him, and he was still bitching about that too that night. And I was like, you're going to pay Punk $300 plus a flight. And these guys live in New York and they just want gas money. You make no sense.
No shit.
Cause I was like, cause yeah, I told him if Punk couldn't do it and you want Ring of Honor guys, I was like, I can get you the Outcast Killers and you could put them with Cheech and Cloudy or someone from that Special K. That's what it was. Special
K. That's it. Yep.
Right.
That's it.
Because I was talking to Deranged and he's like, yeah, you can put us with the Outcast Killers. It would be like the Outcast Killers versus Special K from Ring of Honor instead of having Punk, you know? You can get 4 guys cheaper.
But going back, the Pitbulls, yes, they were extremely intimidating. They had a very small clique, and I guess it's the guys who had known them previously. I remember seeing them, and like you said, they were obviously juiced up, you know what I mean? And they were red as hell, so they were probably a mixture of like pain pills, beer, alcohol maybe, and juice. But they didn't really bother anybody when it came to it, though. Like you said, they would say hello, be about their way. Cronus, I do remember him being kind of like goofy and happy, and because he was probably, you know, feeling good, but he was not intimidating at all. Very welcoming person, a real tall mother, you know what I'm saying? But good experience.
Cronus basically ended up becoming like part of the roster, like part of the family to all of them.
I remember that, yes.
He was on a lot of shows. Him and Balls Mahoney were like part of them. He was always there.
And I wanted that to be me, you know, but I think at that time, or at the 3rd show, Joe Eugenio didn't like his guys, you know, because we trained for his company, you know. He did not appreciate his guys going to other companies and working because he didn't want them making you look bad and you coming back and being his like star, even though I wasn't even a star, but they had some plans for me, but he did not appreciate. I think he was just kind of stingy, not to talk bad about Joe Eugenio, but I get it. He invested in us, and he was just kind of stingy with his workers, and he didn't want you working Power League. He didn't want you working NEWA. He definitely didn't want you working Primal because I don't think he perceived them as a threat. I think he just, you know, who's this guy out of nowhere trying to come and take my guys now? You know what I'm saying? So that's that. So that's the reason why I stopped working for Primal and everybody else. I became committed. I was just committed to that company who took the time to invest in me, and they believed in me. So.
And they had so many shows, Yankee Pro, especially between Yankee Pro and South Coast. They had more shows than anybody. I was talking to Stryker about it, and he got in so much heat. He wanted to work for Primal so bad, like you're saying. He wanted to do that style. It felt like he fit in there. He did not want, and he was the hardcore champ, I guess, when he Yankee Pro when he went to Primal, and I guess Joe Eugenio gave him so much shit and was like yelling at him, and you're my hardcore champ. You can't be going over there. And he changed his name to Mike Rampage to try it so they wouldn't know. And me and him got into a lot of that, and he wasn't real happy about Joe doing that, and he was almost going to leave to go there, but he said he couldn't because Yankee Pro had, you know, so many dates and Primal had so few.
And it's not like we were making money in Yankee Pro. It was just more, it was the exposure we were trying to get. And, you know, there was kind of, you know, talk in the air of we're trying to get this local TV deal and we're going to be in this city next weekend and we're going to go to this
chanting
city.
My name, and like they barely knew me. And all I was really doing was just taking a zillion shots to the chest and getting lit up like a Christmas tree. But, you know, there was some good stuff in there. We went in the crowd and, you know, there was some of the hardcore, you know, chair shots, and I got hit with something else, and Jose got hit with something else. But really good experience. I just remember in the back, like, all the boys in the back were absolutely freaking committed to, like, hardcore wrestling. I don't recall how many people were in there. It was a good crowd for, like, for a smaller show. But, like, dudes are, like, blading and going through tables, and it's just, like, type of stuff where, like, if you saw it on TV, it'd be, like, on a pay-per-view. And the boys were just doing that, like, you know, that day. And I was certainly impressed. And I really liked the show. I liked the people. I liked Jose. He was a good guy. And I know after that show, they, they asked me if I'd be available for future shows, and I was like, absolutely. Not a problem. And I did some more work for them. I thought it was awesome. My very first chair shot, which we'll talk about later, was I think the next show I worked with the chair swinging freak balls.
Well, I went to when I got drafted to WWF, I was still in school with Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, before he was married to Stephanie, and China. We were all in the same school,
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I remember he won his first title at my high school. He beat Moondog Rashad.
Moondog.
That's my high school, Middleborough High.
Yeah,
I got that on tape. I got that match on my
wow.
YouTube. Yeah, oh yeah. Terrorizing,
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's on my YouTube, that match.
No kidding. So he got drafted to WCW, and then we got drafted, me and China got drafted to WWF. And then Perry Saturn went what's his name? Oh, John.
Cronus,
yeah. They went to the ECW and everything, so. And Perry was.
They went to Memphis first, right?
That's right. Smoky Mountain, yes, that's right. Yeah, Jim Cornette's road. Yep. So that was.
They were for Rumble for a little bit, weren't they? As
They
wore the shoulder pads and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, they were good. John Cronus was a good guy. Perry Saturn, another good guy. I mean, basically everybody I went to school was great. I mean, we all had built a bond of alumni, with the IWF and everything, So I didn't get a chance to go to that. My father had passed away, and so it was kind of like taking a sabbatical from everything, And Brittany Brown had asked me to go, and I couldn't make it, and I kind of felt bad, but it is what it is, There's a lot of good memories.
Wrestling fans, porn addicts, senior citizens who just happened to land on this website. I am the New England hardcore legend, Livewire Dave Padula. Not a title that I gave myself, but a title that was given to me and that I earned. From 1993 to somewhere in the 2000s, I created havoc. I brought hardcore wrestling into New England. Promoters were afraid to do anything that would cause blood, that would cause violence, that wasn't family entertainment. But you see, there was a company, Top Rope, Yankee Pro Wrestling, who gave me this opportunity, along with Jose Perez and many others, to introduce barbed wire, thumbtacks, glass, everything, even a kitchen sink, into professional wrestling in New England. Thank me. All these people that are doing these shows, that are doing hardcore, that are doing death matches, you're welcome. Props to guys like Ron Zombie, Lowlife Louie, Ramos, Homicide, on and on. I can't think of everybody right now. Matt Tremont, fucking phenomenal. The late Supreme. We all brought something to the hardcore wrestling table to help others continue and better the hardcore deathmatch wrestling.
That was a show with Sandman. He got really shit-faced, I guess.
Yeah, we're in the back, man. I'll tell you, right? We're in the back, and I'm like I said, they loosen the reins there. You know what I mean? So I'm getting pretty well done myself, and I'm popping a couple of Vicodins here. You know, at this time I'm feeling some pain. You know, it's a few years into my career, and I'm feeling a little bit of pain. Not that it's an excuse, but I'm popping some Vikes. The Sandman looks over at me and says, "Pretty well, what are you popping over there?" Said a couple of Vicodin. He said, that, man. Here, take a couple of these. Man, take one. It's the equivalent of 6 of them. I said, nah, man, I'm good, brother. You do your thing. I'm good. But, yeah, he was feeling pretty good that show.
Yeah, didn't Jack have to run in and help hold him up on the ropes and stuff? Wasn't that like a audit that he ran in and did that?
Yeah, Jack was there that night. Yeah, yep, that happened. Yep, Sandman was feeling good, you know, and it's kind of weird because I seen Sandman. I was at an ECW pay-per-view. It was in the Amstein Ballroom. And I was there with Jack. And this dude, man, he came in feeling good. Talking about Sandman. He came in with his gear, pulling his bag. This guy went over to the ring. He rode in, got one corner, ran to the other, ran the ropes, did a moonsault, came down, grabbed his bag, and he went to the back. But he was feeling good. Like, wow, man, I can't do that shit, man, if I ain't feeling good. You know what I mean? But it was cool. And yeah, but that night, yeah, man, I think he was feeling really good. And Jack came out, you know, dude that Jack is, and he was looking out for his boy. You know? So that was cool.
Yeah, that was the night Abdullah was supposed to be there, right? And didn't Jack come in? No, Sandman come in to take his place?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
I remember all the ads. Abdul the Butcher, the only New England appearance of Abdul the Butcher.
Yeah, Abby was supposed to be there, and he couldn't make it. I think he was having some kind of health problems, maybe. He couldn't make it at the time. So yeah, yep.
Vertebrae set his leg on fire and dropped the leg drop. Dude, he burnt the hell out of himself. I remember we were like throwing bandages on his hand, picking dead skin off his hand and his arm, and you know, because he lit his leg on fire and the fire wouldn't go out. So, you know, he was batting it with his hand. His hand was being burned, and you know, and it's like that's where the reins had to be drawn back a little bit, because God forbid a fire started in the building with, you know, fans in there and stuff like that. So I think that's a little bit where they veered off the path that they should have stayed on. But it gave us a place to express ourselves. You know what I mean? And that's where the Mike Rampage name came from. I was just on a rampage with just being fed up with, you know, just this whole mentality that we have to be like the guys on WWE. You have to, you know, be 6 foot something. Dude, this is indies, bro. This ain't the big leagues.
That night or tomorrow, you might wake up and go, maybe that, you know. So yeah. Let me know if anything like that happens. That's all.
Yeah, fire will shoot from the hip.
Most people don't care. I just like saying that because I'm not the type
to harass Rocco. And finally, after probably a couple months, he gave in. He's like, all right, dude, come in, help with the ring. We got a school in this spot. You can come, you can train, but you're not going to wrestle. You're just going to train. And that's how it started.
Who was leading the training at that time?
At that time, the first guy to ever offer to work with me was Anthony. Anthony, from that first time I walked into the office, he took a liking to me and my father, and he was like,
I am the Underground King, SWB, New England Hall of Famer, Test of Strength founder and head coach. Looking for classic wrestling videos featuring New England Hall of Famers and legends? Check out Chop's videos on YouTube.
This is Kick-Ass Kyle Storm, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer. You like independent wrestling? You like women's wrestling? Hardcore? Shoot interviews? Check out Chop's videos. You'll love what you see.
What's up, guys? Teddy Goods here, and for all of you who are junkies of early 90s independent wrestling, especially from the New England area, I need to let you guys know about Chop's videos on YouTube. I am a subscriber, and I watch his videos frequently. Tons of NEWA stuff, Tony Rumble stuff, CWA, Primal Conflict, just all kinds of hidden gems. A few matches of myself early in my career, so check it out. Chop's videos on YouTube. Have a good one, guys.